Imagine a world where, instead of the Dark Ages, humanity had advanced 1,000 years ahead, where space exploration began not in the 20th century, but in ancient Alexandria. This might have been possible if one of the greatest losses in history, the destruction of the Library of Alexandria, had never occurred. But how did such a monumental hub of knowledge come to be? And more importantly, how did its destruction send shockwaves through the centuries? The Library of Alexandria, founded in the 3rd century BCE, was originally the vision of Alexander the Great. After founding the city of Alexandria in 331 BCE, Alexander dreamed of uniting the knowledge of the world. Though he did not live to see his dream realized, his successors, Ptolemy I and Ptolemy II, made it a reality. The library housed an estimated 400,000 to 700,000 scrolls, gathering works from Egypt, Greece, Persia, India, and beyond. It was here that Euclid's Elements, one of the most influential mathematical texts in history, took shape. It was here that Archimedes pioneered mechanical inventions and laid the foundation for mathematical physics. But despite its grandeur, the library's existence was precarious. The first blow came in 48 BCE, when Julius Caesar's siege of Alexandria set parts of the city aflame, possibly destroying thousands of scrolls. Over the centuries, the library suffered from internal conflicts, religious upheavals, and foreign invasions, until it was lost forever, perhaps during the Muslim conquest of Egypt in 642 CE. The destruction of this unparalleled repository of knowledge had far-reaching consequences that would echo through the centuries. But what exactly was lost? The story of the library's destruction isn't just about burned scrolls. It's about the intellectual, cultural, and scientific momentum that was stolen from humanity. Let's count down the 5 unseen impacts of this colossal loss. Number 5. Reduced influence of Egyptian intellectualism. One of the most significant but lesser-known consequences was the decline of Egyptian intellectualism. Egypt had been a cradle of knowledge for millennia, influencing fields from astronomy to medicine, and Alexandria was its intellectual epicenter. Strabo once remarked that Alexandria has been the greatest emporium in the world, a place where knowledge and commerce meet. But beyond commerce, it was the ideas of ancient Egyptian scholars that left an indelible mark on history. Consider Imhotep, the legendary architect and physician, whose teachings on medical treatments, anatomy, and surgery were passed down through generations. His works may have been lost forever in the destruction of the library. Scholars also point to the ancient Egyptians' advanced knowledge of astronomy, as seen in their accurate alignment of the pyramids to the cardinal points. Could their future observations of the stars have contributed to earlier breakthroughs in space travel, or even a more precise understanding of our universe? The destruction of the library didn't just silence Egyptian voices, it marked the beginning of the end for Egypt's intellectual influence. With the knowledge base decimated, Egypt's once great contributions to medicine, astronomy, and architecture were overshadowed by the rise of Rome and later empires. Imagine the breakthroughs that might have come if Egypt's ancient wisdom had continued to evolve alongside Greek and Roman innovations. What lost discoveries might still be hidden in Egypt's sands, waiting to reveal the brilliance of a forgotten intellectual legacy? Number 4. Weakened resistance to historical revisionism. The library didn't just store scientific treatises, it housed historical records, first-hand accounts of events, and official documents that chronicled the ancient world. Plutarch, writing centuries after its destruction, lamented the loss. In this fire perished invaluable records of human achievement, annihilated forever by blind and reckless forces. These scrolls were the voices of the past, allowing future generations to hear directly from those who lived through history. One example is the reign of Pharaoh Hatshepsut, one of Egypt's few female rulers. Her successors, seeking to erase her legacy, defaced her monuments and omitted her from official records. The Library of Alexandria may have housed scrolls documenting her reign more thoroughly. Without them, her story was nearly lost to history. Similarly, accounts of the Persian Wars or the rise and fall of the Assyrian Empire, which could have offered a more nuanced view of these events, may have been destroyed. With the library gone, history itself became vulnerable. Without these primary sources, later rulers could rewrite the past to suit their agendas. Wars, dynasties, and entire civilizations were rewritten, and in some cases, erased. We will never know what stories were lost to the flames, what battles were misremembered, what triumphs or tragedies were left to fade into oblivion. Could a single scroll have held the key to a forgotten empire's rise or fall? How might the course of history look different if we still had access to those lost records? Number 3. Hindered cultural syncretism. Alexandria wasn't just a hub for Greek or Egyptian thought. It was a place where the world's cultures collided. Scholars from Greece, Persia, India, and beyond came to the library to exchange ideas, creating an intellectual melting pot unlike any other. Strabo himself described it as a place of many tongues, where wisdom finds no borders. One of the most intriguing exchanges occurred between Greek philosophy and Indian mathematics. The ancient Indians developed the concept of zero, a revolutionary idea in mathematics, while Greek scholars were refining geometry. Could these two intellectual traditions have fused more deeply if the library's resources had survived? Or consider Persian astronomy, which had already produced sophisticated star charts and planetary models. What if this knowledge had been further developed in the context of Greek mathematical precision? The destruction of the library cut short these tantalizing possibilities, leaving the world's intellectual growth fragmented. The loss of the library didn't just burn books, it disrupted this unique cultural exchange. Imagine if Greek philosophy had been allowed to further merge with Eastern mysticism, or if Indian mathematics had continued to influence Babylonian thought. Could this intellectual fusion have sparked earlier revolutions in science, or even reshaped entire civilizations? What groundbreaking ideas were bubbling beneath the surface of this intellectual cauldron before the flames wiped them away? Could we have reached the Renaissance centuries earlier if this cultural exchange had been preserved? Number 2. Delayed advancements in medicine. Among the many lost scrolls were medical texts that could have transformed the course of healthcare. Ancient scholars such as Herophilos and Erasistratus made groundbreaking discoveries while working in Alexandria. Herophilos, who performed dissections, made remarkable advances in understanding the human nervous system. Erasistratus, meanwhile, studied the circulatory system, coming close to discovering the principles of blood flow centuries before they were fully understood. Imagine if these works had survived. Herophilos' studies of the brain could have laid the groundwork for modern neuroscience. What if Erasistratus's insights into the circulatory system had been developed, leading to early breakthroughs in understanding the heart and blood vessels? Consider ancient surgical tools and techniques described in these lost texts, tools that might have evolved into more sophisticated instruments for performing complex surgery centuries earlier. Diseases that plagued humanity for centuries, from infections to circulatory disorders, could have been treated much earlier. Lives that were lost could have been saved. But with the destruction of the library, the timeline of medical progress was set back by centuries. What if a single lost scroll held the cure to a disease that ravaged entire populations? Could ancient Alexandria have been the birthplace of modern medicine? Number 1. Loss of scientific and mathematical breakthroughs. The greatest loss, however, was the sheer volume of scientific and mathematical knowledge that disappeared with the library. Alexandria was home to some of the most brilliant minds in history: Euclid, Archimedes, and Eratosthenes. Euclid's Elements survived, but what of his other works? Eratosthenes calculated the Earth's circumference with astounding accuracy, centuries before any European explorer set sail. His lost writings on geography and astronomy could have changed the way we navigated the globe. The historian Aulus Gellius marveled at Archimedes' mechanical inventions, which included early designs for war machines, levers, and pulleys. Could Archimedes have pioneered machines like the steam engine or mechanical pump centuries earlier? What if the Industrial Revolution had begun not in the 18th century, but in the 3rd century BCE? The momentum of technological innovation that was halted by the destruction of the library may have set human progress back by centuries. What if the key to early space exploration was lost in the flames of Alexandria? How different would our world look today if the scientific momentum of ancient Alexandria had never been interrupted? In the flames that consumed the Library of Alexandria, we didn't just lose the wisdom of the past. We lost so much time and thinking in developing the potential for the future. Scientific discoveries that could have revolutionized the world, medical breakthroughs that might have saved countless lives, and cultural exchanges that could have reshaped civilizations were all erased in a single, tragic event. Yet despite this monumental loss, the library's legacy remains a powerful reminder of the fragility of knowledge and the dangers of its destruction. Today, we live in an era where knowledge is more accessible than ever, but also more fragile. Could our modern libraries and digital archives face the same fate? What lessons can we learn from the past to safeguard our shared intellectual heritage? Thank you for joining us in this chapter of history. If you enjoyed this journey into the lost knowledge of Alexandria, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to War and Wisdom in History. Stay curious, seek wisdom, and we'll see you in the next chapter of history.